Hello, everybody. Welcome to something special, We're going to be covering Yaira, Issue 1. Now, to set the stage a little bit, I think a lot of people who know me kind of understand that there's Eric July, who started his own comic book company, Rippaverse, and has started putting out a few comics. First one was Isom, then he got Alpha Core, now Yaira. Yaira is the third character to get their own series, and Yaira has been around the block for probably like the first second of Rippaverse being announced. And Yaira is written by the Soska sisters, who I actually have a good knowledge and history with, because I read their book, Black Widow, No Restraints Play, a really brilliant Black Widow book, mind you. I really loved how that one turned out. I recommend to check that out if you really want a good, mature, hardcore Black Widow, thrilling adventure story of her hunting down bad guys and, giving them what's what. Really good stuff. And they do really good work with Yaira. Now, Yaira has always been a character that a lot of people who are fan of the Rippaverse have been always clamoring answers for. They want to know what's the deal, right? Who is she? What is she? Is she good? Is she bad? Does she like video games? We don't know. Do we get some answers? Yes. Although we don't get an answer on whether or not she likes video games. That's flawed. 0 out of 10, guys. I'm joking. Maybe I'm not. But anyways, we, this book has, it's a big, nice, good old, thick book with a lot of good pages, because you're definitely going to need them to, introduce a character and give them a lot of the backstory. And we do get a good, considerable chunk of it. We are not told every single thing. We're told enough to formulate our own thoughts around it. It's we get enough to sort of get an idea. It's okay, I know what she is, or at least enough to kind of go, okay, this is the baseline, this is what we're going to work with, this is what we're going to start off, and in the future issues, we are going to expand further upon this, And so what is Yaira? Yaira, in this book, she is a character that is trying to do things, for herself. There's a point to it, and she's not evil, but she doesn't really follow the rules, which kind of puts her into a predicament and getting her into situations with the local superhero team, Alpha Core, and there's a little bit of a dynamic with her and the various members like Solari and whatnot. Then, as the story opens up, she comes across another character, a new character that we introduce, that kicks off this little adventure that the events of this book take. And, it brings in characters from Yaira's past, and we start to kind of get more tidbits on, what her story is, what her history is, or at least just enough to kind of go, okay, this is kind of interesting, It's a little bit of a mixture of, has a bit of a mixture of a Wonder Woman and sort of Black Widow vibe, where there's a lot of secrets to her that she doesn't really let a lot of people know about, and then we kind of peel back the layers, we kind of see some things, we kind of see a little bit to kind of gleam into what her personality is like and why she is the way she is. Then, we kick things off with a lot of the action, with Yaira trying to scramble to get things done when she's trying to protect this new character, from getting killed by people from Yaira's past, and also, having to deal with the Alpha Core also jumping in, trying to arrest her, this whole big old chase thing, and she's trying to make things work, Now, without giving away anything for spoilers, I think the general idea is she comes across this young woman who displays abilities. These abilities bring up a considerable amount of attention, not just from Alpha Core, but from people from Yaira's past. And Yaira's trying to, protect this one person who really is just so confused about everything because these powers just spring up on her. She doesn't know what to do. Controlling them at first is a little bit difficult. She's trying to manage, and Yaira is not exactly giving her much detail. She's going at it with a tough love approach with protecting her. She's not coddling her. She's just going like, look, kid, I know some of those abilities you got. You're just going to have to figure it out. Like, do it yourself. I'm not holding your hand. Which is kind of nice. It's a nice little change up of the usual, like, protector-ish, line that, people do. Now, as the story progresses and she's just trying to, like, deal with the people from her past coming in to hunt her down for things that we've not been shown yet, but we can definitely infer that there's some big history that Yaira did some stuff or she didn't do anything that caused, her to be hunted down like a dog. And as the story gets unfolded and we know more of Yaira's past and why she is what she is, you're kind of going, okay, that makes sense, because Yaira's not just been around the block in terms of the rip of her story. She's been on Earth for a good long while. She's established her roots. She's got a good life kind of worked out and going, and she's getting things up there, and, that life for her is getting uprooted by all of these events happening, and she's just trying to make this, work. One of the things I did like about this was the dynamic between Solari and Yaira. They have this very clear cut, like, he's trying to lock her up and bring her in, but when things get real bad, like if he's about to arrest her and then something is like much bigger going to happen, like say the people that are trying to kill Yaira are like causing a bigger scene, it's like, okay, a bigger picture, I will deal with Yaira later. I'm not going to stop hunting her, but I'm not going to be having tunnel vision when it comes to this. Like, I see the bigger picture, I'm going to stop the bigger threat here, and we will deal with Yaira at another time. And Yaira just kind of has this more playful-ish attitude with Solari, although she's not entirely too playful because she will not hesitate to, like, throw haymakers at him, So it's real fun. It's a nice little fun dynamic that I could definitely see becoming a reoccurring theme throughout, and we'll see how that goes. As for the antagonists, which are the characters from Yaira's life that are coming in, they are also, how to explain this? They are similar species, I guess, to Yaira. They hail from the same place she hails from, and they have a big vendetta on her because she didn't do what they sent her to do, and thus they want to make an example out of her. This, of course, does not really work out too well for them, because Yaira's like, no, I like where I live, and I don't like you guys trying to mess that up, so you're all going to die. And you can see how well that turns out for everybody involved. And then the side character, the new character, Martinez, that we get in, she develops these sudden powers that are similar to Yaira's, and there's like a kind of a mystery of like, okay, why did you develop these? What's the deal? Is it just like, or is it just one of those, you suddenly develop powers because that's a thing that can happen in this universe, or is there a greater meaning to them? What does that mean? Why do you have similar powers to her? There's a storyline to it, and, we do get an answer for that at the end, but I'm not going to spoil that. But there is, that character's a little, I'm not sure. I think she's like the one negative I have for this book, because, without spoiling, there's an event that happens with the antagonist of the book and another side character that is close to Martinez. And Martinez, like, blames Yaira for this happening. But then in another few pages, she doesn't blame Yaira for it, but then at the end of the book, she blames Yaira for it. And that's kind of like the one little negative thing I kind of got. A bit of a nitpick, but it's like, she keeps flip-flopping. It's like, okay, did Yaira cause the thing that happened that you're blaming it for? Or does she not? Because you're on it, then you're off, then you're on, then you're on, you know. Little inconsistent for me, but that's just me, you know. Maybe that's just part of her character. I don't know. She kind of did seem like a little bit of a jumpy, you know, young woman that just didn't really know what the hell she wanted. She was inconsistent in her own mind. Maybe that's a character trait, or maybe just a slight oversight. I don't know, but that's like the one negative I have of it. Otherwise, the book is pretty good. You know, you get a decent, rounded off story with enough left over to follow up on. But if you wanted to just read Yaira 1 and just to see what it is, you don't feel like you only got like one like incomplete, you know, slice of pizza. You know, you've gotten something. You've gotten a pretty mostly rounded off story, you know, that gives you a general idea of like who Yaira is, and leaves you just with a little bit to know you want to see more and see what they'll do to expand upon this character. You know, the artwork here, I do love this artwork here. You know, freaking Deborah Carita. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. She does incredible art. You know, very nice, well-toned. Characters are well distinguished. So I love Solari's jawline. You know, does very well work. You know, the colors are nice and distinct. You know, nothing's too dull, nothing's too bright. You know, everything fits. You know, everything all fits in together. And of course, the Saskas do incredible writing, and I like how, you know, Yaira is just a bit of a no-nonsense character, but she will be a little playful, you know, when it comes to, like, Solari, you know, that, other than that, she's just more hardcore, like, I will fight you, I will go on and do whatever, you know, and this is pretty good, and when you understand the backstory of her, when you see what she was like when she first arrives, and the events that shape her into who she is, you see, you're like, okay. You're like, okay, you understand this. You understand this character. You understand what made her this way. Now, would I recommend you to read Yaira number 1? Yes, I actually would recommend you to read Yaira number 1. Not only just because it's a new independent comic book that you should just check out, but because I think this is an interesting new character that could have some very good potential. You know, if you want a cool, pun intended, like badass female superhero that kind of skirts the lines a little bit, but isn't just like trying to do world domination stuff, you know, I think this has some potential there to read, and I'm definitely going to be checking out the next few issues of Yaira when those come out, you know, so definitely I'm interested, and those are my thoughts. So what are your thoughts on Yaira number 1? Have you read it? Have you read it? If you have, let me know in the comment section below, and if you have any other suggestions for comics I should check out on the channel, do let me know in the comment section below. I'd like to thank you all for coming along and watching. Thank you all. Goodbye.